Hi everyone, welcome back to Coding Ambitions. I hope you guys are doing extremely well. So let's continue with this video. So in this video, we are going to learn about permissions, how to request permissions in Compose multi-platform, right? So as of now, I'm making this video. There are two ways available. We can request permissions. So there are two libraries which we can use, right? So first one is using the Moco permissions. Second one is using the COF permissions, right? CLF COF permissions. So we can use any of them, but like if we want to like use the same library as we use in the Jetpack Compose, right? So there we use the accomplished, right? So and then we use the permissions thing from the accomplished library, right? Accomplished permissions. So similarly, we can use the COF here. So that is pretty similar to that one. So we will discussing about that COF permissions, right? So for that, first of all, we need to add this library. So com dot this Mohammed Rajib cough permission, right? And so then suppose I want to like request the camera request permissions, right? So for that, first of all, the first thing is like as usual we need to declare the permissions in the Android manifest, right? So we can use this uses permission and then we can specify the camera permissions, right? So even we can add this suggestion as well uses feature, right? So we can add this camera permission here, right? And similarly for iOS also, for few permissions we need to define these. For iOS we need to define some key and description message. So suppose for camera we need to add this ns camera usage. We need to tell like why we need this permission, right? And then inside this string we can define the like what is the description why we need this is for the like we need ns camera, so camera, right? And its user description we will be defining that here, right? Camera permission is required to take pictures, right? So but few permissions like in the Android they are by default available. Similarly few permissions in iOS are also by default available. We don't need to define them, right? We can directly use them without these requests, right? So now let's say, so we will be doing this similar things which we do in Jetpack Compose, right? So permission state. So we will be using the remember permission state API for that, right? And here we will be defining the permission dot camera, right? And this is experimental. Let's opt in for that. And then let's just create a simple column and let's specify modifier as well. Fill max size and suppose we have suppose one button, right? And on click we will be launching that permission state dot launch permission request, right? And here we can just specify its text Can be anything. I'm just, for example, giving you just simple example. It can be depending upon your use case, right? If you want to trigger it from the like manual way, but if you just want to trigger it on the directly like whenever composable is loading, we can trigger that inside the launch defect as well, right? So, and one more thing, suppose if we check it state dot status dot is granted, right? If it is granted, so for example, we can just show simple example here, like permission is granted, camera permission is granted, right? And so this part permission requesting will only be shown if it is not granted. So we can move it into the else, right? So we can try to run it. So let's try to run it. So if you see it showing this button now because permission is not granted. And if we click on that, it's asking for that permission. So we can use, right, now permission is granted. Even if I try to run it again, it will show permission granted, right? So I requested that permission while using the app, right? So now for iOS, let's try to use that. So if you see, it's showing that button. Now let's request. If you see, now it's requesting permission. Okay. So if we allow, permission is granted, right? And similarly, if we directly suppose, let's say, if I just uninstall this and I just suppose without any button, I want to request it. So I can call it here, right? I can provide this option here as well, but we can remove it from here then. So if you see, it directly called because we'll apply that logic here, right? Allow, then this will be updated, right? Similarly, how we can use the multiple permissions. So for using the multiple permissions, as of now, remember multiple permission state method is available, but this is not yet implemented, right? If you see and go there to do. So as of now, it is not implemented. So if it will be, once it will be implemented, right? Then we can directly use it and pass the list of permissions, right? But as of now, we can do manually like gallery permission state, right? Suppose, so we can apply logic manually here. Suppose first we need the camera permissions, right? Then we can apply the gallery permissions, right? So we can apply some custom logic here. So here I'm just triggering any of them. So it will be triggering any of them randomly maybe. But ideally you will be using some logic like if this is this like camera is granted, then suppose we are requesting the gallery, that kind of a logic, right? If you see, I will be removing it so that it will be starting from the beginning. But one more thing, if you see, we need to add that here as well, description, right? So for that, we need to use the ns photo user description, I guess. Anyway, let's see, it will show error. which request is missing. Let's see. It will show us. So if you see, it's crashing. Why? It's asking this app has crashed because it attempted to access private sensitive data without a usage description. So we need to specify the usage description. And this one is the which we need to specify, and that's photo gallery, right? Photo library, sorry. So let's add that, right? And you can show any message here is required to pick pictures. So let's try to rerun it. And if you see it's showing, first of all, it's showing the camera permission, right? Now it's showing the gallery permission as well, right? So that's how we can use multiple permissions as well, right? So similarly, we can specify some other permissions as well, whatever we need to specify, right? Call, file location, Bluetooth, right? So this way we can specify, like we can request any permissions at runtime, right? So that's all about these permissions things in and sorry, compose multi-platform, how we can do that. And I hope you have enjoyed the video. And if you have enjoyed it, please do like, share, and comment on it so that I can create more videos like this. So that's all about this video. I will see you in the another video with another cool content. Till then, bye bye. Take care. Have a great time. Keep coding.